Welcome to the Shine Speakeasy, the quiet corner of the dance mom world where we trade perfection for presence. This is where we exhale, reflect, and remember that showing up just as we are is more than enough. I've been a comp mom for a few years now, and if there's one thing I've learned is that we need a room like this. So convention season is here. The emails are hopefully rolling in. The group chats are probably buzzing. So let's talk about how to survive competition season and maybe even enjoy it just a bit as well. So before we get into what to bring, let's pause and talk about what a convention actually is. Because if you're new to this world, it's easy to lump it in with competitions. But conventions are a completely different energy. A convention is a weekend or sometimes just one day where dancers take back-to-back classes from professional choreographers and master teachers. It's fast-paced, high energy, and unlike anything they experience at their home studio. Instead of performing on stage, they're learning in a ballroom full of dancers from all different studios, styles, and experience levels. And here's the truth as I see it. Dancers either love conventions or they need a little time too. The atmosphere can feel intimidating at first. New faces, teachers, choreography flying at them. But it's also incredibly inspiring. It's where they start to stretch themselves beyond the comfort of their home studio walls. I always remind my dancer before we go, this weekend isn't about being the best in the room. It's about being in the room. That's the win. Some conventions give out scholarships for things like enthusiasm, effort, or growth, not just perfect technique. So even though there can be an award element, the real goal is the experience. Every dancer leaves with new skills, new confidence, and a better sense of who they are as a performer. It's also a chance for your dancer to explore. They may discover a new love for hip hop or realize that musical theater lights them up. The pace is quicker than a normal class, but it's meant to stretch them mentally, physically, and emotionally. As moms, our job is to set that tone early. I like to have a quick pep talk with my dancer before we go in, reminding her that there might be moments where she feels lost or behind, and that's completely okay. It's part of the process. Because at the end of the day, conventions aren't about perfection. They're about showing up, trying, learning, and walking out proud, knowing you gave it your all. So yes, conventions are long, sometimes chaotic, and definitely exhausting. But they're also filled with moments of connection and growth that you'll remember for years. And now that you know what to expect, let's talk about how to pack for it. Conventions are long, exciting, and exhausting, often all at once. Packing smart can make the difference between calm and chaos. I like to think of our bag in zones because trust me, when the day gets long, you'll be grateful that you did. So the first zone is your dancer zone. This is your dancer's lifeline and going to be your peace of mind. You want to pack multiple options for shoes. You're going to want to look at all of the classes that your dancer is taking on convention day. So you may need jazz shoes, tap, lyrical, half soles, foot undies, sneakers, whatever their schedule requires. Bring an extra pair of socks and a backup hair tie because both will disappear by lunchtime. You don't need tights for most conventions or tap shoes unless there's a specific ballet or tap class with a dress code. Most dancers are wearing leggings, biker shorts, joggers with a fitted top. Most conventions don't leave time for snacks between classes. Dancers go straight from one class to the next, but there's usually a designated lunch break built into the schedule. That means lunch needs to be ready to go the moment they walk out of the ballroom. You want to pack something easy to grab and refuel with. Think sandwiches, wraps, or pasta salad that can hold up in a cooler bag. And always include water or electrolytes. Those ballrooms are deceptively warm once the dancing starts. One quick but crucial note. Some venues restrict outside food and drinks, especially hotel ballrooms. So always check the event email or your studio's reminder before you pack. If food isn't allowed, have a plan in place for quick options nearby, maybe DoorDash or Uber Eats. If your dancer likes to change slightly by adding or removing a layer of clothing between dance styles, use small pouches labeled by genre. I personally do this, and I've done this for a few years now with my dancer. We'll add maybe a skirt, and for hip hop, we'll add on some baggy pants over her outfit, sneakers, etc. You want to make sure that you have everything labeled in clear pouches that are relatively small so nothing gets lost in the shuffle. And yes, label everything. Painter's tape and initials will save you when every other kid in the room has that same water bottle. So keeping your dancers' things all together, keeping them labeled, is going to make the day run a lot smoother for you, so you can just hand your dancer what they need, put it back where it goes, and all is right with the world, and you're calm and collected through the whole process. For the mom zone, this is where comfort meets awareness. You don't want to bring half your living room with you. This isn't a picnic. Be respectful of the dancers and the teachers. Space is often limited, and the energy in the room matters. You want to keep your footprint pretty small. No spreading blankets across the floor or whispering through combinations. You're there to observe quietly and support the room's focus. You may want to bring a sweater or a wrap. Those ballrooms can be cold first thing in the morning and somehow still stuffy by the afternoon. Ensure you have your water, your electrolytes, and a phone charger added to your essentials. Trust me, you will use all of them. A convention weekend is generally lighter than a full competition day, especially if you're doing just a one-day event. You don't need to haul the entire backstage setup. A medium-sized rolling tote or a Hulken bag works beautifully. It fits the essentials, rolls easily through crowded hallways, and keeps you organized without feeling like you've moved in for the weekend. Make sure that you have everything that you need, depending if you're a working mom. I know a lot of working moms will bring their computers and work while their dancers taking the classes. We're there for support and morale. So if we need to multitask, we easily can do that. Just make sure you have your charging cords and your computer fully charged so that you're ready to go if you need to focus on those types of things as well. Empowering your dancer. Before the convention even begins, take a few minutes to ground your dancer. I do this every year, usually in the car on the way there. It's not a big speech, just a heart-to-heart moment to set the tone for the weekend. One of the things I have started doing when she first started to attend conventions was go over the things to remind her of things I noticed throughout the convention while she was in the class. For example, if your dancer's young like mine was when she first started, I would always make sure I remind her, hey, when you're in the class, make sure you're realizing what your left is to your right. Your left is the L. So if they say your left leg or your left hand, make sure you're using the right hand, make sure you're using the right leg. Those things can kind of turn your dancer around, and it can be kind of difficult to course correct while you're learning a routine. So just little small things that I would notice with her in the classroom that I just wanted to make sure that she was reminded of. Nothing overly dramatic, just things that I wanted to make sure that she felt confident that we had spoke about, and I could get her opinion and her feedback if she had any questions. So here are some general things that I remind my dancer every year prior to the convention. Try your best. You don't have to be perfect. They just need to give it everything they've got in each class. The teachers notice their effort and their energy just as much as their talent. So even if they mess up, finishing strong shows more character than nailing every step. Listen closely. There's so much being taught in a short time. Sometimes the biggest lesson comes from a small correction or a single moment. So they want to stay tuned in and paying attention to transitions and taking everything in that the instructor says, even if it's directed at someone else. Say thank you. This is a big one for me. At the end of each class, I want my dancer to thank the teacher. It's a small gesture, but it shows gratitude and maturity. These instructors teach hundreds of dancers, and a simple thank you can really stand out. Be kind to others. Whether it's offering space on the floor, helping a younger dancer find her spot, or giving a smile or encouragement, that kindness matters. Every dancer in that room is working hard, and how you treat the other dancers in the room says just as much as how you dance. Asking questions, but with awareness. If something's unclear, it's okay to ask for clarification. It shows that you care and that your dancer wants to improve. I just want to remind my dancer to make sure, though, that she's listening first and checking that that question hasn't already been answered. Don't compare yourself. Your dancer is going to see incredible dancers from all over, older ones, stronger ones, dancers with completely different styles. It's important that we let that inspire our dancers, not discourage them. The only person that they need to outdance in that room is the version of themselves from the day before. My go-to top reminder that's not overly serious but incredibly important is to make sure that my dancer hits the bathroom before class, and if needed, between classes. Some ballrooms are far from the restrooms, and they don't want to miss instruction when the next class starts. I've experienced this firsthand with my dancer. A new class just started, and all of a sudden she had to go to the bathroom. So we had to make a mad dash for it so that when she got back to the class, there wasn't too much instruction and choreography that she missed. But you don't want to have that problem if you can avoid it. My final thing that I love to remind my dancer before going into a dance convention is to enjoy it. This is our dancers' time to learn, stretch, and shine. They need to forget about being perfect and just soak it in. Soak in the music, the movement, and the magic of being surrounded by people who love dance just as much as they do. Your dancer will feed off of your energy. If you're calm, supportive, and confident that this weekend is about learning, they'll show up the same way. Conventions are full of big personalities and even bigger choreography. But the dancers who grow the most are the ones who stay open, curious, kind, and humble enough to keep learning. And that mindset starts with us. So, what to expect? Conventions aren't competitions. If you choose to stay in the room and watch your dancer, there are some conventions that charge for a pass to watch your dancer and some don't, so it just depends. So you'll find out information from your dance studio. You'll be camped out in a ballroom or tucked against a wall for hours. The music's loud, the energy's intense, and the emotions will swing like a pendulum. Believe me, I've seen a dancer vomit in the middle of a class. Anything is fair game during a dance convention. That dancer was okay, maybe a bit of nerves and too much lunch too quickly. Your dancer may laugh, cry, or collapse in your lap halfway through. And that's okay. That's why I like to be in the room. I love to support my dancer. I love to give her a thumbs up. I love to give her a you go girl. It's just our energy, and I know she appreciates that motivation. I'm there to be her steady in the midst of the swirl. These weekends will grow your dancer, but they also grow us as well. So it's important to take a bit of time to listen through this podcast, ground yourself, and get yourself mentally prepared to go through the weekend and go through this experience with your dancer. And I commend you for taking the time to listen through it if you've made it this far. What to protect? And here's the heart of it. Protect your peace. Protect your dancer from comparison, protect your body from burnout, and protect your weekend from being overrun by everyone else's energy. Step outside when you need to, breathe, and you don't have to film every combo or make small talk in the hallway. Sometimes the best support you can give is quiet, grounded presence. Show up as your true, authentic self, and don't worry about the rest. Convention weekends can be magic, not because everything goes right, but because you show up with intention, because you took time to prepare, pack what you need, expect the unexpected, empower your dancer, and protect your peace. Until next time, remember you don't need to do it all to shine. Just be present enough to feel it. I'll see you next time in the Speakeasy.